It's #1 local news. This is Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
Words cannot express the sadness and grief.
Heavy hearts united in grief. 2 Bristol police officers killed, another hurt in an ambush attack.
Today, our hearts are broken.
A community in mourning coming together to show support for the officers and their families. An American flag hanging high above as police salute their fallen brothers.
They answered a call to duty and they responded without hesitation. And that's what they did every night before that.
This is really just an unimaginable loss, and our thoughts and prayers go out to the Bristol Police Department.
Condolences, as you can imagine, are coming in right now from all over the state and all across the country as investigators work to get to the bottom of exactly what happened. Tonight at 5, we have live team coverage from Bristol.
Channel 3's Matt McFarland will tell us more about the officers who were killed, and Chief Investigative Reporter Sam Smink will dig deeper into what we are learning about the suspect.
But first, right now, we do want to start with Channel 3's Dylan Fearon with more on what happened in the moments leading up to the tragic shooting. Dylan.
Well, Mark, Aaron, let's first just say being here in town all day, what an emotional day for this community, what a heartbreaking day for this police department. This all started at 10:30 last night. Police got a call from someone saying there was a domestic violence incident at the house down the road behind me. But when police showed up, those officers were shot at. 2 officers killed, 1 injured. Now investigators are just trying to find out why.
I heard what I thought was firecrackers, rapid fire, bang, 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 bang. And I realized, I said, that's not firecrackers.
What Ken Prigocki heard was gunshots, and the target, Bristol police officers.
Hot response for gunshot wounds.
They answered a call to duty and they responded without hesitation.
But it turns out that call was to intentionally lure officers to this house on Redstone Hill Road. Police thought they were responding to a domestic violence incident, but when they showed up, they were shot at. Sergeant Dustin DeMonte and Officer Alex Hamzy were killed. A 3rd officer, Alec Irato, was shot as well, but has been released from the hospital.
Our community has been rocked. Our police department has been rocked.
Police tell us 35-year-old Nicholas Brutcher shot and killed the officers. He was shot dead too, but our sources say Brutcher was dressed in camouflage, waiting for officers to arrive. We were at the processions this morning in town. Drone 3 showing you all of the support from nearby police and fire departments stretching for blocks. And this sign outside a school close to the scene, Bristol PD is in our hearts.
Today, our hearts are broken. We're united in immeasurable grief for those hero officers, for their families and friends, and for all of our law enforcement personnel.
Now, along with wearing camouflage last night, our sources say Brutcher also used an AR-15 in last night's shooting. But back to these officers, these are major members of our communities. They were husbands. One of them was a father, longtime police officers. For more on those officers, let's head over to Matt McFarland, who is also live in Bristol tonight for us. Good evening, Matt.
Good evening, Dylan. Speaking with folks here in town, they say these guys just made an impact not only on them, but the community as a whole here in Bristol. The memorial's just been growing throughout the day. Folks dropping off flowers. Officers actually brought the flowers inside the police department that were on the police crew because they're afraid of the rain that's coming up. You can see the black bunting that hangs over the police department as well. Just everyone in this town thinking of these 2 officers that were killed and the one who's now recovering.
Uncle Sam, can I help you?
Every day, the crew inside Uncle Sam's restaurant takes care of hungry stomachs. But today, they're reeling, dealing with heavy hearts.
They were in here yesterday laughing and smiling and just good guys. And all 3 of them are amazing.
Bika Sturgos and Kelly Kay tell us officers Alex Hamzy and Alec Irato stopped in for lunch yesterday.
They were just genuine, nice guys.
They say that goes for all 3 officers shot last night. According to Bristol Police, Sergeant Dustin DeMonte leaves behind a wife and 2 kids with a baby on the way. 35 years old, he was hired in 2012, worked as a school resource officer and a cadet advisor with the Bristol Police Explorer program.
He was actually the officer at my daughter's school. She went to Green Hills. The staff is just broken. They expected him actually today, and yeah, you get that phone call and it's just awful.
34-year-old Officer Alex Hamzy, who was hired in 2014, grew up here in Bristol and is a 2006 graduate of Bristol Eastern High School. He was part of the Central Region Emergency Response Team and was a cadet advisor as well. He survived by his wife. This afternoon, as mourners dropped off flowers outside the police department, a member of his graduating class said she just had to be there.
Just always smiling. He had a great personality. I don't know, I just remember him so well because, you know, he was such a great person, so happy, you know, he was just amazing.
And 26-year-old Officer Alec Iorato, who was shot and injured, was released from St. Francis Hospital late this morning. He joined the force in 2018, working the patrol division, along with being a member of the Central Region Emergency Response Team as well.
They answered a call to duty and they responded without hesitation. And that's what they did every night before that. And that's what all our officers do and will continue to do day after day.
Now, so many folks stopping by the police department here throughout the day. Coming up tonight at 6, you're going to hear from one man who came here to pay his respects and the personal connection he has with Sergeant DeMonte and how he says the sergeant really helped save him. That part of the story coming up at 6. We're live with the mobile newsroom in Bristol. Matt McFarland, Channel 3, Eyewitness News.
All right, Matt and Dylan, thank you both very much. Now, right now at 5, we are learning more about the suspect in the deadly police ambush. Our chief investigative reporter, Sam Smink, has been digging deep into the suspect.
And she is continuing our team coverage live in Bristol tonight. Sam, what have you been able to find out?
Well, sources tell us Nicholas Brutcher had been waiting for officers to arrive dressed in camouflage with an AR-15. And looking at his social media, he often poses with guns and is an avid hunter. Here's a Facebook page belonging to 35-year-old Nicholas Brutcher, the man police say shot and killed 2 Bristol officers and injured another. In one photo, you can see him holding a long rifle, smiling for the camera. In another, he is holding a deer that has been killed. In yet another, he is seen holding guns alongside friends. Court records show Brutcher got a divorce in 2019. He also had his wages garnished this past year after 2 separate credit agencies said he owed them more than $8,000. Police had been first called to Brutcher's home on reports of a fight between him and his brother, 32-year-old Nate Brutcher. Nate Brutcher was shot and is in the hospital. The Connecticut assault weapons ban went into effect in April 2013. If you had an assault weapon before then, you were able to keep it. You just had to register it with the state. So if Brutcher got the assault weapon after that ban, it would be legal. Reporting live, Sam Smink, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
Sam, thank you very much. You can count on Eyewitness News and the Channel 3 app for continuing coverage on air and online around the clock. We are working to get new information right now on the investigation, and of course we will be at tomorrow's vigil in Bristol.
Our other big story tonight, the early warning weather alert. We are tracking heavy rain and possibly some damaging winds.
Yeah, a lot going on tonight. A live look for you over New Haven, Middletown, and Waterbury. Obviously, we have been tracking some rain, talking about it for a couple of days. Meteorologist Mike Slifer is keeping an eye on the situation right now from the Early Warning Forecast Center for us.
And Mike, where are we seeing the bulk of the rain at this point?
So far, it's been fairly spread out, nothing too heavy just yet. The heaviest is off to our west. That is expected to move in here over the next several hours, with the heaviest rain likely here after 8 o'clock tonight. We've got some pretty impressive rain totals in the forecast, 2.5 or more inches of rain possible east of I-91. So eastern Connecticut is where I'm focused on this, especially northern sections of New London County into Tolland and Windham counties. I think that's where we are most likely to hear a report of 3 or more inches of rain. In western Connecticut, though, still expecting 1 to 2 inches of rain. So certainly a lot of heavy rain in the forecast, and we've been tracking this over the last several days. Of course, Scott and Connor had a lot of that this morning, and it looks like the forecast is still going to pan out with very similar timing, expecting the radar to start to fill in here over the next couple of hours with steadier and heavier rain on the way by 8 o'clock tonight. Now, these downpours continue for the remainder of the evening and last right into the overnight period, expecting some very heavy rain, especially in eastern Connecticut to last right until 2 or 3 in the morning as we start to clear out from west to east. Sunshine develops very quickly tomorrow morning. By 10 or 11 o'clock, we'll start to see breaks of sun, and we're back to fully sunny by noon. So any Friday plans you have for the evening should be good to go. But right now, we are certainly still tracking the latest as far as rain goes. On the early warning pinpoint Doppler, a couple more showers, maybe a couple of downpours starting to pop up in Litchfield County. This is all moving north and will continue to pass over the border into Massachusetts. Heavier showers starting to move into portions of the Connecticut River Valley, too, from Deep River up Route 9 and over the river into East Haddam and Moodus. And we've also got some showers right now from Preston and north up 395 to Plainfield. And the other big piece of this is the wind that's going to come with it. So here's what we're watching. The squall line to our west, showers to our south. These run into each other over us and bring some very heavy rain and some strong wind gusts, possibly topping 40 miles an hour in some spots. Coming up, I'll time it all out for you and tell you when the sunshine returns and if it sticks around for the weekend. That's in your early warning 7-day.
Okay, Mike, thank you very much. And obviously our hearts go out to the Bristol Police Department and the families and friends of the officers who were killed. We will continue to bring you the very latest on this investigation.
And as you know, the outpouring of support has been overwhelming. And if you just glance at the Channel 3 Facebook page, so many people are just posting there to share their thoughts about this loss. And flowers are being left here at the police headquarters, on a cruiser there. It has really been a moment that has, in a sad way, a terrible way, brought the community together.
We need your support. We need your thoughts. We need your prayers.
And the support is really all across the state. You are looking live right now at the New Haven Green, where flags have been lowered in honor of the fallen officers, true heroes who will never be forgotten. We'll be right back.
Channel 3 Eyewitness News, Connecticut's first choice for breaking news, traffic, and early warning pinpoint Doppler.
Johanna Hayes is completely out of touch. I'm a single mom. I don't know if I go to the store if things are going to cost the same or if they're going to be more. It's scary.
Democrats single-handedly saved the economy.
Johanna Hayes didn't single-handedly save anything. In fact, she made it worse. Things aren't getting better. Not at the grocery store, not at the gas pump. She's wrong. She just does not get it. I would not vote for Johanna Hayes.
Congressional Leadership Fund is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Down here, Johanna Hayes understands the struggle. Hayes was a lifelong teacher, her husband a cop, living paycheck to paycheck. It's why Hayes fought to lower prescription prices for seniors. But up there, George Logan lived the high life as an Eversource executive, and before that, as a lobbyist. He gave them tax breaks as they jacked up energy costs on us. George Logan's not for us. House Majority PAC is responsible for the content of this ad.
Fabulous, fantastic, jaw-dropping.
Just mesmerizing. I love art. When this is the first time I felt a part of the art rather than just looking at it. I felt a part of the experience.
Don't miss the final days. Tickets available at beyondvangohartford.com.
Chevy Silverado. It's got the power you want and the capability you need to do the job, so you can get to the important work. Find new moments, find new roads. Get $500 cash allowance on this Silverado with a 2.7-liter engine. Plus, current Chevy owners can get an additional $2,500 cash allowance. Plus, get a $1,000 accessory allowance toward a new Chevy truck with accessories.
Story that we have been following from Connecticut. A 13-year-old boy has now died after he was exposed to fentanyl at school.
Fentanyl, manufactured in China, smuggled across our border. And Dick Blumenthal doesn't seem to care. He voted against more border agents, against border funding for drug detection equipment, and against deporting criminal illegals. Now, drugs and crime flood our streets. Dick Blumenthal, open borders, criminally dangerous. Connecticut Patriots PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
We continue our team coverage right now on the two deaths of two Bristol police officers. Retired State Police Lieutenant J. Paul Vance, our law enforcement analyst, is joining us now to talk more about what happened.
Lieutenant, thank you very much for being here again this afternoon. You know, there have been a lot of reports today about what has happened, but we do know it appears the officers were ambushed, and I'm curious about your reaction to that.
Well, I think it's important to note that this is going to be a very, very extensive investigation. The ambushing of murder, the outright murder of those police officers will be investigated extremely thoroughly. And there's a lot of evidence and information that will be examined, such as body cam, if it's available, dash cam, if it's available, any other type of video evidence, and witness investigation. In other words, interviewing all law enforcement officers that were involved in this incident whatsoever. Anyone that may have been driving by in the initial time when this was taking place. It's important that they get all the facts and circumstances together and present that to the Chief State's Attorney for review and to the Inspector General for his review of this entire incident. It's a tragedy, but it's important to note that all the facts and circumstances need to be examined to explain exactly how and why this occurred.
This really is just an unimaginable loss for so many, Lieutenant. I have a dear friend who is an officer, and speaking to his wife this morning, she said to me, "Erin, this is what I worry about happening every single night." How do we even come to terms with what these families and friends are dealing with right now, as also their brothers and sisters in the force?
It's very, very difficult for families, and I think that's really the main focus that law enforcement takes right now, is trying to support the families. I think about it, and it brings a lump to my throat about the tragedies that have occurred over the years during my career, where law enforcement officers lost their lives. And you look at their children, you look at their families, and you realize men and women in law enforcement and EMS and the fire service are human beings. They're family people, and their spouses say goodbye to them during the day or during the nighttime hours. I'll hopefully see it tomorrow morning. That goes through their minds, because every officer that puts that badge and equipment on their body to go to work to protect and serve know that there is a possibility that they may have an encounter which could be life-threatening.
Well, these men are heroes for sure, and you know, thankfully we have one officer, Ayarato, who survived, and I would imagine he will be crucial in their investigation about what happened here.
You're absolutely correct. He'll be very, very crucial in the facts and circumstances in chronological order, and the information he'll be able to present to this investigation. And don't forget, there's a scientific aspect of it, where that weapon will be thoroughly examined at the forensic laboratory. The medical examiner's office has scientific evidence, even hospital records. All of that information will come together and give a transparent, complete picture of this entire tragedy, and hopefully bring some closure for the families of these fallen officers.
Retired State Police Lieutenant J. Paul Vance, thank you as always for being with us. We appreciate it.
Thanks. Thank you.
We've got an early warning weather alert in effect right now, and that's going to be for tonight into tomorrow morning. Heavy rain is on the way to Connecticut. We've been tracking some showers, especially to our west and to our south, and where all that moisture converges is right over us. So heavy rain expected tonight, as well as some strong gusty winds. And the reason, again, that this is an issue all has to do with the fact that the leaves are still, the trees rather, are still full of leaves. In full leaf, you know, we don't really deal with strong wind gusts as often unless they're in thunderstorms. Our strongest winds tend to be in the winter when we don't have any leaves on the trees to worry about. There was a flood watch in effect for most of Connecticut except Fairfield County until 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. Heavy rain could cause some flooding issues, still highlighting a bullseye across eastern Connecticut of 2.5 to 3 inches of rain. Western Connecticut likely picking up 1 to 2 inches of rain. So even on the lower end of this scale, that's a lot of rain in just about 6 to 8 hours. We've been tracking showers on the early warning pinpoint Doppler. Nothing all that heavy out there just yet. Starting to see some more development near Hamden, New Haven, up to North Haven, tracking along I-91. And we've also certainly seen the radar fill in a little bit across portions of Middlesex County into New London County. But I think the bigger story here is still off to our west. Right now, wind is coming out of the southeast, pulling in moisture. Not too gusty just yet. The strongest gust that we've seen so far today has been in Groton. It was 38 miles an hour, but that was more of a rogue gust. I still expect stronger gusts as the line of storms actually passes tonight. With it, a wind advisory in effect for New London County from midnight to 8 a.m., where gusts could top 45 miles an hour. Elsewhere, I think gusts will probably be between about 30 and 35 miles an hour. But they are coming out of the southeast, which is not the best wind direction for us. Our trees all grow resilient to northeasterly and northwesterly winds. So when you flip that 180 degrees, the trees don't have as much of a defense. And again, the leaves on the trees act like sails and will help to pick up the wind, which could bring down trees and some branches. Our iCam in Old Saybrook shows that the water's beginning to get a bit choppy. Of course, given the news today, the flags are at half mast. In Rocky Hill right now, too, I think a lot of these leaves, especially the ones that have begun to turn, are going to be stripped. Low clouds starting to build in, and that is all out ahead of some heavy rain. I expect the radar to fill in with steady rain expected by about 7 o'clock, and then we mix in some heavy downpours. These will be fairly sporadic, and you will be in steady rain. It gets heavy for a few minutes and then backs off a little bit, then gets heavy again. That's how this is all going to play, except in eastern Connecticut, just under a fire hose of moisture with constant downpours expected. The last bit of this storm finally crosses through tomorrow morning, and then we end up with some sunshine as early as about 11 o'clock or noon. Behind the storm system, Saturday looks great, but by Sunday morning, we do track just a couple of sprinkles with more rain in the forecast for next week. This will likely usher in our first really chilly air mass of the season. Things expected to be much chillier as we get into the middle of next week with temps only in the 50s. The foliage report still shows that foliage is looking decent, but unfortunately, we are going to lose a lot of these leaves overnight tonight. Just to recap, windy conditions overnight tonight with heavy rain, some flooding possibly impacting the Friday morning commute, but then Friday afternoon looks much better. Still a breeze lingering into Saturday with temps in the 60s. A lot of sunshine expected through the weekend. A couple of spots at the coast on Saturday may even hit 70 degrees. Cooler and rainy for Monday, much cooler Tuesday with temps only topping out in the 50s on Wednesday. Mark, Aaron.
Okay, Mike, thank you very much. Still ahead, we will continue our coverage on the 2 officers who were shot and killed in the line of duty.
And right now, a crowd is gathering to remember their lives and honor their service. You are looking live at Bristol Eastern High School, where a vigil is set to get underway in about 10 minutes. We will have a live report coming up.
Last night's incident in Bristol has given Connecticut some unfortunate new history. This is the Connecticut Police Memorial. I'm Mark Robbins. I'll explain.
Connecticut makes helicopters in Stratford, submarines in Groton, and advanced electronics right here in Seymour. But all this work almost ground to a halt without enough microchips from China and overseas. We can't leave our jobs and national security at China's mercy, so we just passed a law to produce more microchips here in America to get the supply chain moving again and keep people on the job. I'm Dick Blumenthal. I approve this message, which was made in Connecticut.
The new GMC Sierra. Premium and capable. That's professional grade. Step up to GMC with 0% financing on Sierra models. We are professional grade GMC.
Down in Washington, they doubled down on partisanship. Well, not me. I'm Joe Courtney. Working with Democrats and Republicans is how we won health coverage for Navy vets suffering from Agent Orange.
And doubled our region's submarine production. Joe Courtney.
Joe Courtney got it done.
Got it done. Joe Courtney.
Rated as Connecticut's most bipartisan member of Congress.
Working with both parties to get results for Eastern Connecticut.
That's Joe Courtney.
That's Joe Courtney.
And that's why I approve this message.
Have heart failure and still experience unresolved symptoms? Heart failure and seemingly unrelated symptoms like carpal tunnel syndrome, shortness of breath, irregular heartbeat, and lower back pain could mean something more serious called ATTR-CM, a rare underdiagnosed disease that worsens over time. So it's important to recognize the signs. Sound like you? Call your cardiologist and ask about ATTR-CM.
The thing about kindness, it spreads fast. That's why we're on a mission, spreading kindness all across Connecticut.
Oh my God.
Nominate someone you know. Help make our state a kinder place. The Liberty Bank Surprise Squad, spreading kindness. Only on Eyewitness News.
You've heard me say, in my administration, there's a seat at the table for everyone. That's how we passed our anti-crime law, to make our communities safer. By bringing Republicans and Democrats together, we're giving law enforcement the resources they need. And we're tackling the causes of juvenile crime to keep kids off the street and out of prison. I'm Ned Lamont, and I approve this message because there's nothing we can't do if we work together.
We're back right now with some of the other big stories we're following this afternoon, including this from Washington. The January 6th committee unanimously voted to subpoena former President Donald Trump to testify. This comes as committee members are saying he had a plan to contest the election before votes were even cast.
President Trump had a premeditated plan to declare that the election was fraudulent and stolen before Election Day, before he knew the election results.
Now, a source told CBS News that a witness at Mar-a-Lago has said the former president personally directed them to move boxes of documents even after the DOJ asked for those records.
The man who killed 17 people at a school in Parkland, Florida, will spend the rest of his life in prison. Here are 3 things you need to know. A judge will sentence Nicholas Cruz to life without parole in the 2018 massacre at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. A jury spared Cruz's life because they could not unanimously agree to give him the death penalty. Many family members were upset with the jury's decision.
There are 17 victims that did not receive justice today.
This should have been the death penalty, 100%.
A judge will sentence Cruz on November 1st.
Price hikes slowed down slightly in August, but a brand new report shows inflation is rising again. Gas prices have been going up after a drop during the summer. AAA says the national average is up 20 cents in the past month, and a brand new report from the Bureau of Labor Statistics found prices jumped 8.2% in September compared to last year. Grocery prices are rising, along with the cost of housing, electricity, and natural gas.
Social Security recipients are getting more money to help cope with soaring consumer prices. Around 70 million retired people, disabled people, and others will see a boost in their benefits next year. Starting in January, they'll be getting an 8.7% increase in benefits.
We know that about 40% of retired people rely on Social Security as their sole form of their income. If you imagine that that's your only form of income, keeping pace with inflation is incredibly important.
This is the largest cost of living adjustment since 1981 and will give on average an extra $140 a month.
Right now, we want to go back to Bristol for a live look where 2 police officers are being remembered after they were killed in the line of duty. A third is recovering tonight. A silent vigil is about to get underway. We have a crew there getting more information right now. We will take you there in minutes.
We're tracking showers right now out ahead of what is likely to be some very heavy rain overnight tonight. With it, some strong wind gusts. So that means flooding is on the table tonight, as well as the potential for some power outages around the region right now. The heaviest rain is currently moving out of Litchfield County, but we're tracking some heavy showers over Long Island Sound about to move onshore. We will have much more with the timing and the impacts of this coming up on Eyewitness News at 5:30.
Survivor's ready. Go! New fall TV on CBS is back.
Get off the wheel! I am driving this car!
Tonight, it's the new seasons of the hit comedies Young Sheldon.
More of me? Yes, please.
And Ghost.
We're gonna crush this.
Oh, hell yes.
Oh my God!
Followed by the hit new show So Help Me Todd and CSI Vegas. All part of Big Thursday, tonight on CBS.
Big Flamingo Insurance, what do you want?
Yeah, can we get the auto insurance policy?
Anything else?
Can we add an extra driver?
Number form combo, your premium comes with pickup spot 2.
Okay.
When it comes to insurance, you don't have to sacrifice service to save.
Wait,
This isn't even the right policy.
Upgrade to NJM and get the 5-star customer service you deserve with discounts you'll love.
Excuse me, Mr. Rollerbird?
No jingles or mascots, just great insurance. NJM. Get a quote today.
October 15th is the official Mystic Bridge 100-year anniversary dedication and fireworks celebration. The festivities start at 2 in Mystic River Park. Stay all day for chili, music, and a fireworks celebration presented by Foxwoods Resort Casino.
Ned Lamont promised to cut property taxes by $700.
Total lies. My property taxes are up $800 per year.
$500.
$2,000.
We can't afford 4 more years of Ned Lamont.
I'm Bob Stefanowski, and I approve this message.
George Logan refused to support Roe v. Wade, and they just overturned it. Now Washington Republicans are talking about a nationwide ban on abortion, including in Connecticut. And George Logan would help them, voting for Republican leadership who have promised to do just that. A woman's right to choose criminalized. Women could be punished. Doctors prosecuted. Nurses too. George Logan's for them, not us. House Majority PAC is responsible for the content of this ad.
Fair elections and the right to vote. It's our birthright as Americans. I'm State Representative Stephanie Thomas, and as your Secretary of this state, I'll protect everyone's rights. We'll expand access to early voting and make sure every ballot is counted. And if extremists try to overturn an election, I'll never back down. Because we're all Americans and our democracy belongs to us. I'm Stephanie Thomas, and I approve this message.
Ned Lamont promised to cut property taxes by $700.
Total lies. My property taxes are up $800 per year.
$500.
$2,000.
We can't afford 4 more years of Ned Lamont.
I'm Bob Stefanowski, and I approve this message.
Connecticut's #1 local news. This is Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
We continue our team coverage of the Bristol police officers killed in the line of duty. Here are 3 things to know right now about the investigation.
We're told 3 officers were lured to a home for a fake domestic incident between 2 brothers. 2 officers were killed and another was shot in an ambush.
The officer who survived is home tonight after undergoing surgery at St. Francis Hospital in Hartford. 1 suspect is dead. His brother was shot and is in the hospital. The entire community is in mourning.
Bristol is our big, small town. It's also known as the All Hearts City. Today, our hearts are broken.
And that certainly goes for so many everywhere. And as you can see right here, there has been an outpouring of support. That's a police cruiser outside the department that by now is pretty much covered in flowers. Channel 3's Aya Galal is standing by with more reaction from neighbors. Channel 3's Mark Robbins will dig deeper into the last time an officer in Bristol was killed in the line of duty.
But first, a look inside Bristol Eastern High School, where a silent vigil is happening tonight.
These are the live pictures right here. You can see a crowd is gathering. People are reflecting about these police officers and really the horrible tragedy that happened in their community last night.
And here's what we can tell you. As you can imagine, it is a very emotional night. Dozens of people filling that high school right there, including police officers from Rocky Hill, South Windsor, Simsbury, East Hartford, and many others, all coming out to honor the fallen officers and pray for their families.
I was talking with the chief in Old Saybrook earlier today, and he had said they were sending officers as well, and that this is just what they all do in a time like this. They're all a family, and they're all together. Of course, the community shaken by this terrible loss of 2 officers last night. The mourning and grieving process just getting underway, and this here is one step in a long healing process.
Our team coverage on the tragedy in Bristol continues tonight, and all across the city, neighbors are in shock, and the community continues to grieve and mourn.
Let's go live to Channel 3's Aya Galal. She has been talking with people who live in the area. She has more from Bristol for us right now. Aya.
Mark and Aaron, community members and neighbors here are just heartbroken and devastated after learning 2 officers were killed here last night. And I want to step out, give you a live look. You could see tonight Connecticut State Police are still out here blocking a portion of the street, and it is a somber day for Bristol, Connecticut.
It was shot after shot after shot. I thought that it was never going to end.
Tonight, the Bristol community is in disbelief.
This hurts. This hurts.
Neighbors trying to process the tragedy that unfolded on Redstone Hill Road, leaving 2 Bristol police officers dead.
Kind of crazy. I've never had anything happen like near me.
The deadly shooting happened on a street with many apartment buildings. Residents in the area heard numerous gunshots Wednesday night.
I'm still shaken.
As we drove through Bristol, we came across Don Ashmore putting up this sign outside his Bristol business.
I don't think there's words. Shouldn't.
He says the officers came to his gas station and car wash.
They're in and out, all the time. We wash all their cars, we fuel them up. We know them in the community. Just shouldn't have to go up.
And across Bristol, more displays of support as the community grieves. Sign Source, a local business, creating these lawn signs to honor the fallen officers.
My entire ride to work this morning was, what can we do to offer some support? Like, we make signs, so let's see if we can get people to buy signs that say this support, and we'll donate all the money to the families.
The news still difficult to comprehend.
I don't understand what would motivate someone to do something like that.
And residents say Bristol is typically a quiet town. Community members say they're going to continue finding ways to help support those families affected by this horrific loss. Reporting live tonight in Bristol, Aya Galal, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
Just heartbreaking for all. Aya, thank you so much. We continue our team coverage now on the shooting deaths of 2 Bristol police officers, and it has been quite some time since a police officer died in the line of duty in the city of Bristol.
Channel 3 Eyewitness News reporter Mark Robbins has been looking closer at this today. Mark, we understand these 2 were the 4th and 5th members of Bristol's force to die while serving?
Yes, you're correct in those numbers, and you have to go back to 1944. Ernest Schilke was the last previous member of the Bristol Police Force to die in the line of duty, and that was in a gas explosion when he rushed in to try and save a victim. So it's been 78 years that have passed since Wednesday's tragic events. It's safe to say no one working now for Bristol PD was around when Ernie gave his life. The state of Connecticut has lost 157 officers in the line of service since 1833, 50 of them now by gunfire.
I felt sick to my stomach. This brought back memories from years ago when I was in Waterbury and, Officer Williams was shot. It was sickening is what it was.
Memories that cause us pain, yet it's those memories that remind us of those we love and respect. This is the Connecticut Police Memorial, and last night's incident in Bristol has given this state some unfortunate new history. Sergeant Dustin DeMonte and Officer Alex Hamsey are the first 2 police officers in our state to die in the same incident.
I served, these officers served, they paid the ultimate price, and it's the right thing to do. I mean, they keep us safe.
But there are times where officers just don't have a chance, and I don't know how you change that. These guys sacrificed their lives, it's just terrible.
The incident in Bristol last night comes a day after a police officer in Mississippi was shot and killed. Reports and statistics to this point say there have been 191 police officers that have died in the line of duty in the United States so far this year. Reporting live in Bristol, Mark Robbins, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
A terrible day here in Connecticut. Mark, thank you so much, and stay with Eyewitness News and the Channel 3 app for continuing coverage on air and online. We are working to get new information on the investigation and will be at tomorrow's vigil in Bristol.
Another big story we're following for you right now is an early warning weather alert before some heavy rain and strong winds as we look live over Hartford, Torrington, and New London right now, where it's you can sense that the rain is coming and it's already here in certain areas.
Yeah, meteorologist Mike Slifer joining us now. He has been tracking this all from the Early Warning Forecast Center. Mike, what's the latest?
If you stepped outside today and said wow, it feels almost muggy out, you're not wrong. That's all of the moisture that's been building in. We've got this squall line of thunderstorms that's going to move from west to east, very typical like what we'd see. That's our cold front. But out ahead of it, we have this huge slug of moisture that is about to build into Connecticut. We've got our first heavy showers about to approach Fairfield County with some showers over the Long Island Sound right now. I've been watching these ones as they've flared up. Some downpours from Old Saybrook, Guilford, Madison, all the way over to West Haven and New Haven soon. These are just going to keep moving inland with some showers even popping up now near New London, Gales Ferry. And those are all starting to spread north. And there's more of this on the way. The early morning pinpoint Doppler showing how the progression of these storms is from south to north. Not something that we see here typically. And we also are starting to see the Hudson River Valley in New York State fill in too with some rain. And that's because we are about to see our rain move in here. By about 7 or 8 o'clock, we start to see heavy, heavy downpours in the mix. Steady rain overspreads the entire state, the heaviest of which is across eastern portions of Connecticut. By 11 o'clock tonight, we still have these heavy downpours going on statewide. So you'll have steady rain, and all of a sudden you'll notice that it's really raining very heavily outside, and then it backs off, and then it starts back up, and this will continue until about midnight or shortly thereafter, with the last push of rain coming through tomorrow morning and quickly clearing things out by lunchtime tomorrow. So sunshine will return, but before that, we end up with 2.5 inches of rain, maybe 3 inches of rain in portions of eastern Connecticut, 1 to 2 inches of rain elsewhere, and wind gusts also start to pick up. Here's a live look at our iCam again in New London as the showers begin to fall at the shoreline. We'll have much more on the timing and the impacts of this, plus a look ahead to your weekend and your early morning forecast.
Mike, we'll see you in a few minutes. Thank you very much. We will also continue our coverage on the 2 officers who were shot and killed in the line of duty.
And right now we're going to take a look at all of the flowers just pouring into the police department. The car now covered with flowers and arrangements, people supporting and paying their respects to these absolute heroes.
Now, also ahead for you tonight, we will be talking with our law enforcement expert to find out how their police departments are supporting Bristol.
It's Connecticut. It's autumn. It's gorgeous. It's not.
Don't let sudden changes stop you from enjoying fairs, football games, and foliage. Trust Channel 3 to give you the early warning.
With the biggest team in the state and the technology to alert you first,
you'll know exactly what to expect so you can make plans with confidence.
Get the early warning from the local experts you trust. Chief Meteorologist Mark Dixon and the Early Warning Weather Team. Only on Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
At Stanley Steamer, we love homes, and we're here to help get yours cleaner and healthier again. There's nothing like the feeling of a professional deep cleaning. Schedule a cleaning today.
Story that we have been following from Connecticut. A 13-year-old boy has now died after he was exposed to fentanyl at school.
Fentanyl, manufactured in China, smuggled across our border. And Dick Blumenthal doesn't seem to care. He voted against more border agents, against border funding for drug detection equipment, and against deporting criminal illegals. Now, drugs and crime flood our streets. Dick Blumenthal, open borders, criminally dangerous. Connecticut Patriots PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
It's time to remodel your bathroom, but you don't want the hassle. You just want it done. Rebath, from start to stunning.
The new GMC Sierra. Premium and capable. That's professional grade. Step up to GMC with 0% financing on Sierra models. We are professional grade GMC.
Fabulous, fantastic, jaw-dropping.
Just mesmerizing. I love art. When this is the first time I felt a part of the art rather than just looking at it. I felt a part of the experience.
Don't miss the final days. Tickets available at beyondvangohartford.com.
Now's the time for cleaner indoor air with an air duct cleaning from Stanley Steamer. You've known us for carpet cleaning, but we've been cleaning air ducts for over 20 years. We do things the right way, cleaning your entire system. So if you need an air duct cleaning, call 1-800-STEAMER today.
Time and Temperature is sponsored by Aetna Medicare Solutions. Guidance for the Medicare protection you need.
Right now, we want to continue our team coverage of the Bristol police officers killed in the line of duty.
And joining us right now is Cheshire Police Chief Neil Drive, who is also the president of the Police Chiefs Association. Chief, thank you very much for being here on what is really an awful day for Bristol and for departments everywhere. I want to start, if you could talk a little bit about that, about the family that really is police officers throughout Connecticut and across the country, right?
Yeah, absolutely. This is something that hits very close to home for, every police officer anywhere in the country. There's some things that we all have in common, no matter what size agency you work in or what part of the country. But almost every single police officer at some point has had responsibility for doing two things: traffic stops and responding to family violence incidents. So an incident like this, which certainly at this point appears to have been precipitated by a family violence incident, is something that the vast majority of police officers in this country have gone on, probably very recently, depending on their work situation now. So it is something that hits very close to home for every single police officer in the state of Connecticut and around the country.
Without a doubt. What are the Police Chiefs Association doing to support Bristol as well as the other law enforcement departments all across the state? Because I have to imagine they really need a lot of support and a lot of help right now.
Sure, and that's been a multi-layered approach over the course of the day. Obviously, there was the instant response by many police agencies around the state of Connecticut last night, and then staying into the early hours of this morning. You certainly saw the outpouring of support and the escorts that were taking the bodies of the two deceased Bristol officers to the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner. But after that, we'll be making sure that the men and women of the Bristol Police Department are supported. I know that there are peer support teams on the scene in Bristol as we speak, and it will be for the next several days. Also, we'll certainly be making arrangements to ensure that the city of Bristol is safely patrolled by police officers, so that we can continue to make sure that that community is served while the men and women of the Bristol Police Department have time to decompress and grieve over this tragic loss of their colleagues.
I know you just mentioned, Chief, some peer support groups, and I would imagine the priority, of course, is with the families of those who were lost and the police officers who right now are on the job, have to continue doing their work. How do they do that? Take us through that.
I think most police officers in this situation feel like it is their honor and their privilege to go back out onto the streets and continue the mission that their colleagues lost their lives in support of. It would not surprise me at all if there was a long list of volunteer officers who went to Bristol today or to their own agencies and said, I will go to Bristol tonight if you need me to. I will go out on patrol in Bristol. It's a way for us to honor the sacrifice that these officers made. And again, it's something we would consider an honor and a privilege to do. So there'll be no shortage of Connecticut police officers willing to support the Bristol Police Department and go out and serve their community in the same way that the officers who lost their lives last night were doing.
It is incredible, it is selfless, and we so thank you for everything you do and all of our law enforcement across the state here in Connecticut working to keep us safe day in and day out. Cheshire Police Chief Neil Drive, thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And during a difficult time like this, people naturally want to help. And here's what we know right now. There is a Bristol Police Heroes Fund that has been established. This is through the Bristol Police Union at Thompson Savings Bank. Donations are being accepted right now at all branches. Bristol's mayor says you can expect additional donation opportunities in the days to come.
Well, of course, another big story we're on top of for you this afternoon is this weather alert, because we are really in for some heavy rain today.
Yeah, I'm thinking that it's pretty likely at this point that somebody in Connecticut will see 3 inches of rain over the course of like 6 hours.
Wow.
That's a lot of rain in a very short period of time. We've been tracking these showers, of course, our early morning weather alert we issued yesterday, and Scott and Connor had a lot of coverage on this morning. and now we are starting to get into the thick of it. So the alert itself, 6 p.m. to 2 a.m., which means now we are starting to see the impacts that we are expecting from this. Heavy rain, strong gusty winds, which means that there could be some flooding in areas of poor drainage, as well as some power issues here or there with a couple of downed trees or tree limbs. Look at what the early pinpoint Doppler is showing. Over the last 10 minutes or so, we've seen this line of heavier showers and storms develop over Long Island Sound and spread. So now you've got heavy rain, Milford, West Haven, all the way down 95 and spreading inland up Route 9 through Chester, all the way into New London County, too, with heavier showers near Montville right now, too, spreading into Rhode Island. So this is what I'm expecting over the next several hours, where we start to see the radar fill in with these heavy showers, and that's something that we track as they move from the south to the north, a very atypical direction to see showers move in the state of Connecticut. We've also got some rain starting to appear in southern Fairfield County, and we'll be tracking that. Flood watch in effect until 11 o'clock tomorrow morning statewide, except for Fairfield County, because we're expecting 1 to 2 inches of rain in western Connecticut, 2.5 to 3 inches of rain in eastern Connecticut. This is a very ripe setup to really get a lot of moisture up into New England and allow for some very heavy rain, as well as some strong wind gusts. Old Glory whipping in the wind in Old Saybrook right now. Again, the flags, of course, at half-mast, given the news that we saw earlier. And our ICAM in Rocky Hill was shaking a little bit. Cloud base is lowering a little bit, so it's still breezy outside right now, but the lowering cloud bases mean that moisture is building in, and by 7 o'clock we'll be tracking what I think is going to be the first of many downpours, especially in eastern Connecticut. And by the time we get to about 8 or 9, these downpours are statewide, so you've got steady rain that will flare up and get heavier sometimes and then weaken a bit and get heavier sometimes and weaken a bit, and that continues through 1 or 2 in the morning. By 4 or 5 in the morning, we finally will kick the front through, and that's going to push everything to the east of us and bring some sunshine to us. As that front passes, though, we will likely see wind gusts pick up, and we will certainly see gusts pick up out ahead of it between about 25 and 35 miles an hour is what we're expecting right now, with some gusts topping 40 later on, especially as the squall line in front itself passes. Still breezy heading into the morning tomorrow. New London County is where I think we could see our highest gusts, especially at the shoreline, could see gusts approaching 45 miles an hour. Saturday looks good. Sunday looks good. Maybe a sprinkle Sunday afternoon. Rain is back by Monday, though, certainly trending unsettled for Monday and Tuesday. And with it, we are going to see a fresh blast of cold air. Foliage is looking decent, but that actually complicates the forecast for tonight. The strong wind gusts and heavy rain will likely pull a lot of leaves off the trees, which could lead to even more widespread issues of clogged storm drains and therefore some high water. Expecting things to be breezy heading into the weekend. Could see almost 70 degrees at the shoreline on Saturday with a lot of sunshine. 60s on Sunday. Showers back Monday, Tuesday. By the middle of next week, high temperatures in some towns struggle to break 55 degrees.
And we continue our coverage on the Bristol officers who were killed. Support keeps pouring in from all over the state. We will share some of the condolences in less than 3 minutes.
Survivors ready. Go!
New fall TV on CBS is back.
Get off the wheel! I am driving this car!
Tonight, it's the new seasons of the hit comedies Young Sheldon.
More me? Yes, please.
And Ghost.
We're gonna crush this.
Oh, hell yes.
Oh my God!
Followed by the hit new show So Help Me Todd and CSI Vegas. All part of Big Thursday, tonight on CBS.
Johanna Hayes is completely out of touch. I'm a single mom. I don't know if I go to the store if things are going to cost the same or if they're going to be more. It's scary.
Democrats single-handedly saved the economy.
Johanna Hayes single-handedly saved anything. In fact, she made it worse. Things aren't getting better. Not at the grocery store, not at the gas pump. She's wrong. She just does not get it. I would not vote for Johanna Hayes.
Congressional Leadership Fund is responsible for the content of this advertising.
After an accident, you should never sign anything the insurance company gives you without talking to us first. Don't get hurt twice. Before you talk to the insurance company, talk to us. Call Trantolo and Trantolo and let our family help your family.
It's extended Pilgrim's Holiday Sale. For one final weekend, get 40% off almost everything. Plus, pay no interest for 36 months with no money down. The Holiday Sale. It's extended at Pilgrim's Furniture and Mattress City.
What if we all did a little bit more?
If we could raise one more dollar.
Take one more step.
Imagine the impact we could make
towards ending breast cancer.
That's the power of one.
$1.
One story. A step further. Join us and witness the power of one.
George Logan refused to support Roe v. Wade, and they just overturned it. Now Washington Republicans are talking about a nationwide ban on abortion, including in Connecticut, and George Logan would help them, voting for Republican leadership who have promised to do just that. A woman's right to choose criminalized. Women could be punished, doctors prosecuted, nurses too. George Logan's for them, not us. House Majority PAC is responsible for the content of this ad.
Donald Trump is all in for Leora Levy.
My complete and total endorsement to Leora Levy.
And Leora Levy's for Donald Trump.
I thank him for having my back, and I will always have his.
Levy voted for a resolution excusing January 6th as just legitimate political discourse. And like Trump, she celebrated the end of Roe v. Wade, bragging she's unapologetically pro-life. Leora Levy, she's with Donald Trump, not Connecticut.
I'm Dick Blumenthal, and I approve this message.
Well, when you hear about something this tragic, we all want to do what we can to help. And as soon as news of spread of this horrific crime, really support from local businesses just came pouring in.
Yeah, and so many of them had interactions on a regular basis with these officers. Channel 3's Stephanie Simone has more right now on what the community is doing tonight. Stephanie?
Mark and Aaron, even for people who didn't know these officers, this really hits deeply. And so many want to make sure the families, friends, and colleagues know they are thinking of them. Bakery on Maple posted this on Facebook. We will be closed today. There are no other words. Our hearts are heavy. To the members of Bristol, Connecticut Police Department, we love you and we are here for you. Our doors are open to you and we have coffee, drinks, anything we bake, you are welcome to have. We know it's not much, but it is here if you need it. Family Roots Produce Market in Bristol wrote, our hearts are broken. Our thoughts and prayers are with the families whose lives have changed in an instant. This is such a tragedy. Any support that is needed in this difficult time, please know we are here. And of course, Bristol is the headquarters of ESPN. They are just a mile away from where this happened. They wrote on their Twitter, ESPN extends its deepest sympathy to the families of the 3 Bristol police officers and our entire local law enforcement community. We stand with them and everyone in the Bristol community at this tragic time. It really is a tragic time and is being felt even beyond Bristol and even Connecticut. More on that coming up at 6. Live in the newsroom, Stephanie Simone, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
We're tracking some heavy rain right now in the early morning pinpoint Doppler, the first of what I think is going to be many later on tonight. These heavy downpours are now stretching into portions of Deep River, into Haddam, Killingworth, also out toward Hamden, tracking up 91 right now to North Haven and Wallingford. We've also got some showers, some heavier downpours that just popped up near Norwich, and this is going to become more frequent as the evening goes on. Coming up on Eyewitness News at 6, we're going to be tracking these showers, telling you when it all wraps up, and talking a bit more about the impacts. That's coming up in just a few more minutes.
Today, our hearts are broken. We're united in immeasurable grief for those hero officers.
A dark day in Bristol after 2 officers were killed in an ambush and a 3rd officer was shot. We will have a closer look at what happened leading up to the violence.
From lawn signs to flowers, the community coming together to support the police department and the families of the fallen officers. We will learn much more about how these officers touched so many lives before making the ultimate sacrifice.
If your new heating system is installed incorrectly, you'll be dealing with the problems for the rest of its life. We perform a detailed